Welcome to the Lifelinks podcast, where we share how the past influences the current day so you can choose a future based on a true identity, because we're not blending in. I'm your host, Consuelo Crosby, and also the creator of this content. If you want to chat more about what we talk about on this show, please reach out to me on whatever platform you enjoy on social media. We're available at Lifelinks or on our website at thelinks.com. That's LNXX. And I'd love to engage with you more on these topics and hear more of what you have to say about them. Hola, chicas! Welcome to another Wednesday of the Lifelinks podcast. We are introducing you to a very special guest in keeping with our Season 3 format of interviews and video broadcast of our podcast episodes. How'd you like that rookie move version of my kickoff episode? In all sincerity, today, our guest is Olga Espíritu. Olga is founder of Tree of Life Wealth Advisory Group, who is a financial planner located in Florida, but not just any financial planner. She specifically focuses her expertise for women who are experiencing all the different shifts along their journey that can occur. Before we begin our interview with Olga, I would like to just add a snippet of personal context to show how valuable Olga's experience, expertise, and willingness to guide other women can be. I was 33 when I became a single mother of a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. And coming from a family of all men and a Latin Catholic mother, I was guilted and shamed to believe that I would fail if I did not have a man. And like you heard on one of our previous episodes, I was ridiculed outright for wanting to buy Apple stock in the mid-90s at $14 a share. Now, if I had had access to a financial planner like Olga Espíritu at the time, my life and that of my daughters would have shifted dramatically. But there was no one like that out there. That's why I'm so excited to have her on this episode today, so that you can revel in being successful and being heard as you listen to her bring not only her life story, but the expertise for being financially cared for the rest of your life. So welcome to the Lifelinks podcast. And today we have a really, really amazing woman here as our special guest, Olga Espíritu, who is going to be talking to us about her cultural heritage and how that's influenced her in her founder's story. So welcome, Olga.
Thank you so much, Consuelo. I'm really, really honored, and I am just so looking forward to this conversation.
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about myself, which I usually don't do. So let's see where this goes.
We'd like to hear it all, because for sure it's going to resonate with a lot of women out there and encourage them to tell their story as well.
Beautiful. Well, that's
so. Give us a little introduction about yourself.
Alrighty. Well, I am a Latina financial planner. I work out of the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, but I'm originally from New York. I was born and raised in Queens, New York. I started my work and my career there. As you know, the city that never sleeps. It's a financial capital of the world. Naturally growing up in a family, my parents are immigrants from Ecuador. And they came to this country looking for what we all come for, or all of our ancestors have come for, is for a better life and to provide, for the future generations. And so growing up, I knew that financially we were not very stable, that there were always conversations around how are we going to cover the rent this month? What are, and any expense that would show up unannounced would be a big deal. And it was something that I picked up from my parents, that money was difficult. It was a difficult subject. It was something that could cause conflict in my household because every dollar was tracked. And so this had a huge impact on my upbringing. Also, as a child, you kind of notice the things you don't have, and they're kind of a big deal when you're little. You're like, hey, how come I have the Barbie whose head falls off all the time, And my friends have the nice ones with the dresses,
Yeah.
And so I knew that somehow, some way, in the future that I would have to master this money thing, that I would have to know how to make sure it was never missing, and how to make sure that when I had a family, that it wasn't a matter of conflict, that it was actually something that no nos hacía falta, something that wasn't missing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where this all began, is to make sure that when I had little ones, that I could get them, hey, maybe the nicer Barbie with the one that the head doesn't fall off.
Yeah.
Right? But even more than that, if you don't know how to maneuver it or manage this area or this subject, you could find yourself in a lot of trouble long term as well. The way that people age in this country, and retirement and Social Security and all these things, that we worry about our financial future. So that's kind of where I've always been thinking about aging, not even for myself, but because I knew that I would have to take care of my parents as well.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal culturally and in the country as well, because it's totally different. It's totally different.
You wouldn't know this, but I actually wanted to be an opera singer. And
What?
Yes, I wanted to be an opera singer.
I'm going to ask you to sing.
Oh, it's crazy. It's great. What's even growing up in Queens and New York, like, who wants to be an opera singer?
Well,
but what happened was I had an amazing teacher in high school who used to sing opera. She was the real deal and had retired. And she took me under her wing, and it was something that it was like two worlds collided, because I wanted something like her mentorship, and she wanted to continue her singing. And so she poured it all out on me, and it was just amazing. It was a great experience. And I even got to sing at the Met for like a citywide. Yeah, it was like a citywide contest for inner city kids. And it was just a nice opportunity to sing on that stage. It was an intimate event, nothing public. It was, for family and friends, but it was just the feeling of standing on that stage,
At that point, how old were you?
I had to be like maybe 15 or 16 when that happened. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was life-changing.
Were you like, I'm going to do this? Or was that
Well, that's the thing. I knew that I wanted to do this, but then the little girl with the Barbie head falling off would always come back and say, hey, is this going to be a career choice where you're going to be starving in the future? Will you be another starving artist in New York City? So this little girl always came back and kind of put me back on this realist path of thinking about myself, my parents, which I always call them my first children, because I've done everything according to them and making sure that they're okay and that I can help them and make sure that I give back everything they've given me, because yes, financially is one thing, but love never was a missing factor in my life.
Right.
And so
that's beautiful.
My way of paying them back is to make sure that this money thing is not an issue for them.
Oh, that's so powerful. That's so beautiful. And the culture is very, very specific with that. I mean, it's very ingrained in family and love of family and care. And it's very different than the US when it comes to how children relate with their parents later in life.
I guess it's also because, as a young child, I'd spend my summers in Ecuador with my grandmother and my extended family. And so even though they were far away, I always knew like, okay, we have to stay close to our elders. We have to be tight knit and we help each other. And watching my own parents sending money to Ecuador, helping my grandmother build a house. And we didn't have anything here, but we had my grandmother had a nice house in Ecuador,
First things first, huh?
Exactly. So it was kind of, I guess you learn more with what you see and not what you hear, and that's pretty much, I never even thought it was any way different than that. I thought that was just the way. So.
Well, yeah, but it's a beautiful mix. It's a beautiful mix when you're being raised one way and you're living it and you see the benefit of it and the relationship of it. And it is a people first culture, not a money first culture. But you were also born with it, because I really promote a lot on the podcast that you are born the way you are meant to be. And that little person you keep close to the surface because they're the one guiding you. Yeah. That's your soul. Yeah. To me, that's your soul. That little person is saying, okay, that's all great, Olga. Yeah, we can go sing anytime we want. But you know what? I want the nice Barbie.
Yeah. I deserve the nice Barbie.
Yeah, I want to go shopping.
And now that I'm talking about it, I'm actually surprised that I told you and used that example. You know why? Because I always wanted a daughter. I always wanted a girl, maybe kind of like to heal this wound of getting this Barbie. And look, I just told you I have 4 boys, right? So I never got the Barbie. Even now, they don't want them. Trust me, I've tried. They just don't want them. And so what ends up happening is this past holiday season, Christmas shopping and all that stuff.
Okay.
We're looking through, I think there was like a pamphlet that came through the mail, and I saw this huge like Barbie, like a truck, and it had a closet and you could hang clothes. And my husband's like, are you okay? Because I'm like, this is all I ever wanted. Like, is it weird if I buy it for myself now? Like, I'm almost 40 years old. Like, can I get this? He was like, I don't know. I think you might need therapy.
No.
He's like, get it.
Buy the Barbie.
He's like, get it.
Buy the Barbie camper.
That might be your therapy. Just buy it for yourself. No, it's hilarious. But
4 boys.
Yeah, you see how life is? My God, it's like incredible. So I'm waiting for the granddaughter.
The universe.
I'm waiting for the granddaughter.
So significantly, your upbringing affects how you choose your career, beyond the opera singing into financial planning. Right. Before we get into any more of your cultural aspects in your career, why don't we talk about this amazing career that you have? Because especially, 1, being a woman, 2, being a Latina, and you're in wealth management. Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm an engineer, and I know it's...
you know what it's like, right?
Wealth management in New York, and then in Miami.
Yes.
And you're a founder.
Yes. I founded my own firm.
So let's bring that all to the table, because this is like...
Right. Listening to you say it kind of brings it all into focus. Like I said, I kind of haven't even thought about that, because it was always so very personal for me, this career path. It was, like I said, for my family. It wasn't anything, it had nothing to do really with myself. It was more of like, okay, how can I take care of my family, my parents, and my future kids? That's all it was. And I fell into this because in college, just this way, I was like, hey, I need to learn about money. What's the hardest subject? And what's that? Finance? There's no women in finance? Okay, that's what I want to do. I wanted to fit in a way where I could stand out, because I knew I had a lot against me as far as not having the best education, right? I went to public school my whole life, and I wasn't an amazing student. I was an average student. And so I knew that going into college, I had all the other kids would start the finance books in chapter 13. I'd have to read the first 12 chapters over the summer just to be on track. And so those things all led to an internship that I had for a Wall Street firm in New York City. I wanted to work for free. I'd do whatever they asked, just because I needed to at least be physically in the area and see what this whole industry was about. And it was very, very male dominated. And it continues to be. I think it's something like 78%. But I did have some great mentors. I did have a lot of people rooting for me. And so they saw the fire that I had and the willingness to learn and be there every single break through college. I'd go summers. And I didn't even have money sometimes for lunch. Okay. So,
wow.
And they offered me a position when I graduated college. It was an amazing experience. And I learned everything that I needed to eventually go off on my own. And that's what I did in the end of 2018.
So in 2018, you leave,
right,
and you go to start your own firm.
right.
And the name of your firm, Tree of Life Wealth Advisory Group.
That's correct.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Okay, Tree of Life Wealth Advisory Group. Okay, so tell us about that. Well, first of all, amazing congratulations, because you're starting
you.
that. You started that and then had to go through the COVID shutdown as a 2-year-old company.
Right. It's crazy.
So tell us, how's it going?
It's going very well, thank you. So
I love the office. Let me just tell you, if anybody
thank
wants to see her office, go on her LinkedIn profile, which we will put in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
Yes. No, so we wanted to be, and when I say we, it's mostly me. I wanted to be.
It is your firm.
That's right. I wanted to be a firm where, even with the name, right, Tree of Life, we wanted it to be whatever it is for you. But the way that I saw it was, the tree is so symbolic, right? From the roots to, every leaf and every branch. I wanted to make sure that our clients understood that we weren't transactional. Financial planning is not me selling a product or me representing a company with a product. I wanted it to be very holistic, that we're going to take care of you from the roots to, to the leaf. We're going to talk about all the things that are important to you so that everything's connected, that we're not doing things on the left hand that are conflicting with the right hand. We want to make sure that it's holistic, that we create plans and we create strategies that are not conflicting with each other, that everything is taken into consideration, including your family dynamic, including your psychology of money, including the goals you have, not just for the short term, but for the long term, so that when we give advice, that we're doing it in a way that there's that synergy between all of those aspects.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so it's going well. And you even have little subsets directly within your company, specifically for women.
That's correct.
Tell us about the branch specifically for women in financial planning, because with 78, 80% of wealth planning being run by men, we really don't feel comfortable that we're getting something that, one, is sympathetic with how we live our life, and we do things that men don't have to do, and it's difficult. So it's beautiful that you have this branch specifically for us women. So tell us about that.
Yes, thank you, Consuelo. So yes, it was something that I saw throughout my 15 years of practice, that sometimes I'd walk into a meeting with a couple, for example, and I'd see, that the conversation was led maybe by the spouse, for example, and a woman in this instance would be kind of on the backdrop, maybe not asking too many questions, maybe feeling a little bit insecure. Or sometimes they would just say, look, I don't handle any of this, talk to my husband. And so I realized over the long term that I didn't necessarily want to challenge them and or force them, but I wanted to create a space where it was encouraged that women lead the conversation, a place where women could feel comfortable and say, hey, I don't know too much about this, but I'd like to. And so the Women's Financial Planning Boutique, like you said, it is a subset. It's a secondary branch, a sister branch, if you will, of Tree of Life Wealth. It's meant to feel like a spa experience, one of the places we love to be. I mean, I love to be at the spa. And so you come in, you have a nice cup of coffee or tea, and we sit and we chat. It's not your typical cold office, with the hardwood floors and the marble or what have you. It's meant to be a place where you come, you relax, we talk like girlfriends. And our financial planning is for women by women. And so there's no topic that we'll circle around. We can be candid. We can talk the reality of life, things like divorce rates and the worries that a woman might have. And when there's blended families, I mean, so many things. Women tend to be caregivers, as you know. We tend to care for our parents and our children and forget about ourselves. And so that was the idea, is to say, hey, let's talk amongst women. It doesn't have to be an uncomfortable conversation. And even if it's not uncomfortable,
you're doing something really powerful and, again, proactive, because when I was studying my master's and some of my writings, I discovered in research that women actually collectively around the world are the third largest financial entity after the US and Russia.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to the household, the women are actually making 80% of the financial decisions.
Correct.
Purchases or options or what are made by women.
Correct.
But then they have to go ask. Yeah, may I have?
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
I'm just saying how proactive it is that you see this as a necessary tool when the research is already saying the power is in the hands of the women, and the women are the majority of the wealth in this world.
There is so much research, and it's really, really exciting. The research is pointing at the fact that, we already, like you said, we already manage the money. I mean, we're the ones who knows, planning the vacations, buying the groceries, what needs to be paid and when. And so our wealth managers, okay? But it's very, like you said, very much tied so many other dynamics underneath that bring us lack of confidence, right? And I think it's the education, right? It's easier to do
lack thereof.
Right, lack thereof.
Lack thereof.
Sometimes we do nothing in fear of doing the wrong thing, right? And so, the education, we do nothing, or we do less, or we take a step back, and that's the whole point, is to handhold through the process. And we have something that we say in the firm, which is todas somos exitosas, right? We're all successful, meaning that we all have it within us. We just kind of need that little nudge from time to time that says, hey, you can do this. This is how easy it is. Look how simple it is. Did you know? And once you know, that's it. There's nothing that's going to hold you back. So it's kind of that philosophy that we already have it. We already have the gift.
See, that is something that I think each woman, regardless of her position, regardless of her interests in the world, that she feels that, but there's not very much around her. If anything, like you say, there's more barriers, and it can be exhausting to go live what you want, to go be successful, that you are naturally hardwired to do, when you're spending so much energy just trying to get through the barriers, and you don't have as much energy left for what you were born to be. But having women like you say, oh, no problem. let me get rid of those for you. And they're like, wow.
Yeah, no, it's so exciting. Wow. Those aha moments where they're like, really, that's it? Yeah, that's it. Let's go step by step. I explain things. And I always say, if you have to ask me this very same question a year from now, please ask it.
Yeah.
Please ask it, because it's a lot of information. Sometimes it's overload, but the more you hear it, the easier, it is to retain. And I encourage that. I enjoy explaining things. So please do ask me, do call me. And so that's the kind of environment that I want to have, because I don't want this finance and wealth and all these fancy words or financial jargon to keep women from empowering themselves financially. Because if we don't do it, who's going to do it for us? There's this big saying in the industry in financial planning that a man is not a financial plan, right? Because that sometimes things don't work out, right? Sometimes, in fact, half the time things don't work out. And so as much as I'm pro, happy marriages and all of the above, that realist comes back and says, hey, what if it doesn't work out? What are the things I can do before I get married, or what, even when I'm already married? What conversation should we be having? What are some of the things that we need to do legally so that everyone's on the same boat, so that we don't assume? Because they say you get to know who you're married to when you get divorced, right? That's when you really learn who you're with.
So true.
And so all of these things, I kind of bring them to the table. And even if it's tough to talk about, I rather talk about them now and not after the fact. It's a lot of soul searching. You would never think, because it's like financial planning and soul searching. What? But it's important.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you bring that up and tie it together as such, because we, and I mean me, having been a single mother for 22 years, and feeling both the cultural and societal barriers, and feeling the hello, is there any father out there? Feeling, you tend to still separate the two. That wealth isn't associated with your soul, because you have to trade your soul in order to have wealth.
Right.
And it's, at least for me, very difficult to see those two as the same, and to put the focus on me and my well-being financially before others, which leads me to what we're also going to talk about with how the cultural traits. So I see a lot of your cultural traits coming through in providing this amazing service that I don't see here where I live. And also not just for the immediate Latino community, but for all women. And so how do you personally see your cultural traits, your cultural heritage coming through in your professional life? Do you identify certain things? I think even your conversational style, I see it as a cultural heritage.
Well, yeah. And it's funny you say that, because our entire process, right? Just the fact that we're so connected or so in tune with, including the family, right? Including that entire layer of, whether it's those, not just your children, because those are the ones, if you have children, you typically put them even before you, right? It's also thinking about, like I said, how is your family dynamic going to affect your finances? These are things that usually get skipped over. We're talking about, okay, how much can you put away? What's your budget? It's so numerical. It's so cold and black and white that you really don't, it's almost taboo to ask somebody about their personal lives, right? But I think that's a huge mistake, because if you ask me about my finances, I can't separate that from my parents and what I'm doing for them and how important that is for me. Even if I was talking about my estate planning, if I need a will or a trust, they're definitely going to be part of that conversation. If I need life insurance, well, a portion of that money I would want for the care of my parents if I'm not here. You can't detach the family dynamic from the finances. And so our conversation aims to not just include the family, but what are your priorities? What are the things that maybe we're missing? What moves you, and what makes you get up and work every day? What are we working for, right? What are we saving for? What is this all for? Is there something that you want to make sure that gets taken care of, whether it's a person, people, or a cause?
Wow, that is so powerful. I could see women just flocking to your website, because I don't know, maybe we could have a little cut to the front of the line if they heard it on the Lifelinks podcast first. No discount, just get to the top of the line, because wow, this is something I've never heard anyone talk like this, and talk with the understanding, because you walk the talk. You have been there since you can remember, and did what you need to do. And that's also very difficult, is to walk through that hazing of, a very male dominated career in a male dominated society, and say, with your goal ahead of you, that, well, this is what I have to do in order to get to what I really want to do for women and for the Latino community, and making sure they're provided for, which again, the people aspect, is not associated with wealth management in the US.
I know.
Oh, it's so powerful. It makes me so happy. Yeah. So, okay. So for our listeners, do you have to be in the Miami area to?
No, absolutely not.
How would they reach out to you?
You can reach me on my website. Whether it's best to go through Women's Financial Planning Boutique. Since there's a calendar there, you can sign up for a Zoom call, a phone call, or an in-person visit if you're nearby, happen to be vacationing. But I'm licensed across many states in the US. And if I'm not licensed in the state you're in, I can do that very easily. And so it's a matter of reaching out and starting the conversation. And we can set up, like I said, a Zoom. It doesn't have to be that you have to walk into the office, although I'd love for you to.
Well, that's a great process, though, because I think your process that you have available on your website really is the first step, is knowing that, oh, I know she's free. I can book it on the calendar right here. I'm going to have a conversation. We know how easy it is to talk to Olga. And so right there, it's like, oh, that clears so many barriers to engage in the conversation. And to go forward after that would be more exciting.
Yeah, no, it's like booking a massage at the spa. That's what
it's a massage for your money. Yeah. Grow.
Exactly.
So I can have my vacation and my spa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to, and I love that you said that, because that's really what we want. We want it to be as easy as possible.
To me, you've hit the top of the mountain, but you might see yourself as still climbing this mountain. And you very fully have your cultural heritage and identity engaged every day with what you do professionally and personally, which is what I try to encourage women, that you don't have to choose. You don't have to choose, well, my culture is over here because no one will understand it, and I go live this way in like for us in the US, this is the way I have to live behind. But you're a very good example where it blends, it's blending together. And if anything, it's creating a new source that we haven't had. What other areas do you bring your culture forward? Like to your boys, what do you want to share with your boys as far as your cultural identity?
You know, it's funny you say that, because as hard as I've worked to be financially secure and, make finances a priority in my life, personally and professionally, I also recognize that the more you do for your children, the less they'll do for themselves, right? And so we still talk to them about, the importance of saving. We pay them for their chores. We encourage them, to split their money, a portion for charitable in gifts, gift giving, a portion for the future, a portion for needs versus wants. And we try to teach them to be able to fend for themselves and kind of struggle a little bit firsthand. I think those trips to Ecuador every summer and those things that I did and saw true poverty, like truer poverty than what I was going through. I think that those things really put life and things in perspective for me. To not take things for granted, to work hard. I try to instill in them that, on certain days of the week, we all have dinner together, no matter what, no matter where, so that when they have their families, that they feel, the need to come home and at least once a week and have dinner with mom. Like, those are things that are really important to me.
Beautiful. So tell us then, this is a major accomplishment. And I won't even say for retirement, because I don't like that concept of retirement. Yeah. I consider where you're at right now, this is your second utopia, because you're living this beautiful life with this young family, vibrant family, this successful founder story, beautiful concept that's going to take off immensely, I can imagine. But we also know that there's this third utopia. Kids are out of the house. You can do whatever you want. What does that look like for you?
So part of my long-term goals is I would love to inspire other women to pursue finance as a career. There's so much flexibility. You really are the master of your future. You really are able to, like, for example, I have 4 children because I have the ability and the flexibility and the means and all these things where that was an option for me. It was something that we did on purpose. It was something that we look forward to because we knew that I could take the necessary time to stay home or work from home or take off weekends or work weekends and not work weekdays. So the ability to provide this path, this career path to other women, I think is very much something that I want to do in the future. So that's one thing. The other thing would be to expand and be able to do this across the country, being able to have satellite offices, whatever we need to do to increase that footprint where women feel like they can talk about money. And it's almost so normal in the future. That's what I hope. And so I hope to be part of that shift and that impact.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yes, I think you already are, and it's going to grow, and you have to stay energetic. So tell us a little bit about yourself then, going back. You love going to the spa. What do you really do? What do you do for the big fun?
Are you ready for this?
Where's the big fun? Are you ready for
this?
This?
Well, yeah.
I have the music. Are you ready for this?
Well, what do I love? I love dancing salsa. That is the passion of my life. It's how I met my husband, by the way, on the dance floor. It's our thing. It's how we escape. It's where we forget everything. Don't care about anything but the music and the dance floor. I love salsa. It's something we're super passionate about. And we were talking long term. I'd love to have like a little lounge or cafe similar to the one where we met on a Tuesday night, like a random Tuesday night, listening to salsa, just having a cocktail and just enjoying the music. I'd love to have a little nook somewhere where we can just enjoy those experiences. And that's a huge passion of ours. Yeah.
I love that. We haven't even talked about your husband.
Oh, yeah.
Is he Latino?
Yes, he's Latino. Yes. He's interesting because he was born in Caracas, Venezuela. His parents are Peruvian though. He's from Peruvian heritage. He just happened to be born in Venezuela in the 80s when Venezuela was like the New York City of South America.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, at a very young age, I think when he was just a few months old, his mother moved to New York. And so he was raised in Brooklyn. And so if you ask him, he's from Brooklyn. I have my strengths and my weaknesses, just like he does, and we help each other kind of see things from a different perspective. Sometimes I'm very rigid on some things, and he kind of helps me come around and think twice about things and analyze things in a different way. But yeah, we're definitely having the same kind of goal at the end of the road, so we try not to let the battles keep us from winning the war.
It's a beautiful story, a beautiful family, and the way you support each other. It's really important.
It's a beautiful struggle, as they say.
Yes. And we are humans and we are born to struggle. That is our human aspect.
That's right.
So for our listeners, and I speak specifically within the Latina culture, because for instance, in engineering, there's, 2% are Latinas? 2%. And Latinas with higher education, like graduate studies, 4%, So it's just like, so why not just talk about what it's like to be that? Because there's just not enough voices out there being able to describe, what it's like and how to get through the struggle and how to even provide the empathy. Like, yes, I know what this is like. And yes, you don't just get over it. You can be empowered by the culture, empowered by this position, like the way you, struggled. You put yourself like in the fire of the struggle. I'd be more like warming my hands. Like, okay, that's close enough. So what would you share with women about moving through the struggle, maybe? Whatever the struggle is.
Right. So that's a wonderful question because, I think part of our defense mechanisms, I sometimes just hearing you kind of say these things and even you asking me, I have to really dig deep and remember, right? Remember how and how painful it was. And I can talk about it and laugh about it, but it really shaped, as you can see, shaped my entire life. And so I always think about things with the end in mind, right? Thinking about the end in mind and having that carrot at the end of the tunnel kind of be so much greater than the short-term struggle. Like whether you're studying or you're in debt or just like you said, you're a single mom, whatever you're going through, just think about how every step, every moment, every day is just getting you closer to putting this behind you, right? It's getting you closer to that carrot. It's getting you closer to that goal. And it's necessary. It's a necessary part of your story so that you can then celebrate, so that you can look back and say, you know what, thanks to those things, thanks to those hardships, I can now celebrate even double or triple because I can taste the success because of all the things that I had to go through to get here. So what I would say is let that be the taste that lingers. Like taste the success, not so much the sour taste that we had to go through to get there.
I love that. There's so many quotes I am going to pull from this conversation. Wow, I love that. I'm hooked on that because it can be so easy. I think even, like I said, even living the culture out loud on any given day, it's sometimes so much easier to retreat. Like we were kidding each other about our names. Right. And it's like, do you want to keep insisting that your name is pronounced a certain way? Or do you just like, okay, whatever, forget it? And I think even something so intimate to your identity, we give up on. And so can you imagine, it's how, of course, it's in our human nature to just say, okay, I can't get to that carrot, so I'm going to take this piece of lettuce. Right. You know? It's just, I want to stop. I want to quit. I can't do it anymore. Did you have something specific that you relied on, like that gave you that renewal to keep persevering through the struggle? Was there anything specific?
I think what really helped me was I had people that were very successful around me. And I realized that there was nothing ultra special about any of them. There was nothing that separated me from them. It was like, okay, you just did what you had to do. Okay, then what do I have to do? Just tell me what I have to do. I'll do it.
But even so, taking that emotion, that personal emotion out of the conversation and just saying, here's what I need to do. Here's the chores. It's not about the what ifs as much as the what is. Focus on what is and not about...
Don't let the ifs get in the way. Yeah, absolutely. Right? And I know exactly, firsthand what you're talking about. I'm not going to sit here and say that I never felt overwhelmed or felt belittled, even indirectly without anyone trying to belittle me. There was a lot of internal conflicts, and as you saw, even from choosing my career path, there's so many things. And then also like the what ifs, like you were saying, what are people thinking of me? They know I don't know anybody with millions of dollars to invest. They know I have to work, a lot harder to build my book of business. And so I took, again, those what ifs, they did try to get in the way, but that's where you kind of ground yourself and say, no. Look at so-and-so. They're doing great. I can do great. If this is what they did to get there, I'm going to go ahead and follow those steps. And I think if you ever have those little voices, you really need to surround yourself with people that have similar aspirations, are positive, are going to encourage you or give you that ear, not necessarily to talk you out of your feelings, because it's important that we get those out. But so it's important to surround ourselves, with people that know what we're capable of and are happy to cheer us on when we begin to doubt ourselves.
Yes. That's beautiful. Okay, so I have 2 questions left. So we were talking about like the salsa bar that you're going to have that I have VIP entry to. Yeah, it has to be on a beach. I need it on a beach. I put the question out there. If you were to walk through a portal and you didn't know what was on the other side, what is your hope, biggest dream would be on the other side for you?
That's a great question. Because it has so many layers. The first thing when you started saying the word portal, I thought my children, right? I thought my children first and foremost, because like I said, I've been working for them since before they were here. I've been planning.
Oh,
I've been planning for them before they were even a thought, right? And so I always think about them. And so I hope that they can live the lives that they want. I hope that they live lives where they're enjoying, they're giving back, they're helping, they're laughing, they're getting the most out of this short time that we have on this planet. That's what I hope, to be sitting somewhere watching them live those lives.
That's beautiful. That's a dream. Yeah. And it's in motion. So it's just, that's your third utopia.
That's right.
Okay, here's the closing question, just because we like to give our shout outs. So the cafecito, very important, typically. Very important, the cafecito. Do you have a favorite place there where you live that you go
it's
to?
my favorite just because they're quick, like New York minute type of quick. I find it very difficult here in Florida. Oh my God. I'm still getting accustomed to it. But there's a place called La Carreta, which is, they have the ventanita, you run up, you get your stuff and you go. It's really the closest I can get to like even a Dunkin' Donuts in New York, where they're working two registers, one person. And that's how it is. And so here I actually timed a place once, so it took 7 minutes. And I was the second person in the line. I'm like, oh my God. Right? But yeah, Carreta, thank you for saving. Thank you.
Carreta. You're going to get blacklisted if you go to, here she comes.
I'm counting. No, I'm talking. I have 4 kids, time is money over here. We got 4 kids, 4 schedules. We have, jump in the soccer mom van. Let's go. We got to go. Yeah, it's crazy. But no, I love all cafecito. I'm a coffee aficionado. I love it. But yes, no, Carreta, thank you for saving me so much time.
Okay. Beautiful. But, well, so much gratitude, so much fun. Oh my goodness. I would just come up with another random question just to do this. You're going to see your calendar on the website book, Consuelo. It's like, oh my God, this woman.
Just find a little nook in my calendar and we'll do it. We all need it. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for making me soul search. And I can't wait, to be a resource anytime.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So, well, thank you so very, very much for sharing a lot of your time with us. And we've learned so much about you personally and the culture and how it influenced your career and the beautiful vision you have for your family. It's just something we really aspire to learn
from.
You,
Consuelo.
So get engaged with Olga at the Tree of Life Wealth Advisory Group. We will have all that information of you professionally and how you want to be contacted through the show notes. That will be on every streaming platform that people listen to this podcast on. And it will also be on our website because of the episode transcription. So we will take care of that. We will take care of that for you. So thank you for all that professional aspect. And it just makes me so happy. I just feel so relieved that this exists.
Well, thank you. This is definitely a two-way street. I definitely am really happy that we got a chance to stop and think and talk. And like I said, you made me dig deep in some things that I didn't even know would come out today, but they did. But I'm glad. I hope that at least one of those quotes helps someone.
Oh, absolutely.
If you would like to contact Olga Espíritu and have a conversation like we had here today, learning so much of how she can help answer your questions, even the most simplest questions, you can find her contact information on her LinkedIn profile of Olga Espíritu, Espiritu. And also, if you would like to go ahead and jump into that opportunity of getting started, just to reach out and chat with her, you can go to womensfinancialplanningboutique.com. And there you can see the calendar that Olga was talking about. And you can book a 30-minute session, a 60-minute session, or even book that 1 hour in person. Who does not want to fly to Florida and have a 1-hour meeting with Olga and begin planning for your financial security, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you're experiencing? We empathize with you and we want to support your journey so you can take that stressful piece of financial planning out of your worries. All right, ladies, cheers to all of you in your financial planning success, in your financial security. Thank you, Olga Espíritu, for guiding us and encouraging us and sharing your beautiful story, your perseverance to struggle and taste that success at the other side. Step into your truth, ladies. Ciao. Really appreciate the time you take to rate and review the podcast. Get the backstory and what you've heard here today and reach out to us at thelinks.com. That's LNXX. Because it's about time, it's about us. Stay in the groove on our social media at Lifelinks and get ready to make your move, ladies. Viva!